first things we show when you walk into Sansu Kung Fu is I want to see if you're teachable, and I want to demonstrate a couple things to show you what I mean. As you walk into the studio, one of the first things I'm going to ask you to do is show me what you would do if you were in a situation or in a scenario where you had to throw a punch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what 99% of the people do out there, or maybe even more, do as far as throwing a punch. How do you throw a baseball? How do you throw a football? Okay? So when you ask somebody to throw a punch, most people step out with their left foot and they throw a right punch, if they're right-handed. Okay? That's how most people throw a punch. Now you'll see when you throw a punch like that, he throws a punch. You're reaching for the target. Okay? I've never had anybody come in and actually hit past the target on their first hit. They barely make contact. So you're hitting with about that much. Now that's enough to knock somebody out or to hurt them, but I want you to hit so hard that you're driving through and knocking them on their butt. All right? So from here, if you look, if I push against his hand, okay, his shoulders start to weaken. Hold real strong, Josh. Hold real strong. If he holds too strong, too, he's going to reach into it, and that's how most people throw a punch. So as I push, you guys are going to see that. So what I want you to do is I want you to do it my way, okay, or the Sansu way as far as learning your first punch. Okay, now all punches have the same principles. It doesn't mean you can't step out with your left foot and throw your right hand into a punch. It doesn't mean that. What I'm saying is that you're not going to be as strong when you're throwing a punch unless your body is in a straight line and lined up with that back leg. And I'll show you what I mean. When Josh steps out, I'm going to have him step out with his right foot and throw his right punch. Okay? Now he is in a straight line, and I'll show you what I mean. From here, he has a straight line from his knuckles, which is going to make contact with your opponent, to his shoulder, to his hip, to the floor. Okay? Anytime that line is broken, your punch isn't going to be as strong. And I'll show you what I mean. If I push on Josh's hand right now, you're going to see he's nice and sturdy. Okay? Good, sturdy, solid punch. Okay? Much stronger that way. Not putting a lot of weight into it. Much stronger that way because there's a straight line on the ground. If I take that straight line and tweak it just a little bit, bend your back knee, Josh. You can already see he's going to fold. And the reason he's going to fold is because he lost that line to the ground. Okay? You have to maintain a line to the ground. Now, you can do it with stepping out with the other foot, the opposite foot, and I'm going to show you how to do that later. But beginning Sansu, you need to learn how to have a straight line to the ground to have pure impact with your punches. Okay? So as he steps out with this punch, shoulders nice and turned, back straight, okay? Front knee bent. You don't want to bend your front knee over your toes, okay? This is going to put you off balance. Your front knee should only be bent to the point where it's comfortable, to where you're sitting into it. Some people have a longer stance when they throw a punch. Some people have a shorter stance when they throw a punch. It's okay, as long as you have a straight line to the ground, okay? If you're standing with your feet too close together and you throw a punch, even if your back leg is straight, you're not going to be as strong as the impact because your line is going to push you backwards, all right? Another thing is, I'm not saying to step like this, okay? When you step, your knees are bent. So Josh steps into it. As he steps into this punch, his knees are bent. As he pushes out, his back leg straightens, okay? Your back leg straightens, that thrusts you forward into that punch. So your knee's bent, it straightens, and thrusts you into that punch. The only time your back leg is ever straight is on impact, okay, when you're actually making contact. So you're not going to stand there and hit somebody and hold this, but as soon as you make impact, you want to have that leg locked out, all right? When we're moving, knees bent, impact, back leg is straight, okay? Another thing I want to point out to you is he's hitting with different parts of his body, okay? So if his shoulders stayed straight and he stepped out and did the same thing, step out and do the same thing, and his shoulders stay straight, I'm trying to hold his shoulders back because he's so used to doing it the right way, but your shoulders stay straight and you throw a punch, now you don't have a line to the ground anymore because your line is off. So you can see, it's hold strong, hold strong. You understand? It's harder to hold strong. He turns those shoulders, it also gives him more of a reach. Go back a little bit. Go back with your shoulders. See? So from here, his reach is here. He turns those shoulders, watch his reach. Okay? Turning your shoulders gives you more of a reach. So from here, if I'm throwing a punch, I can't reach Josh right now, but he can reach me. And that's important in a fight also. You want to be able to have a reach advantage over the other person as far as if you're going to throw an outside punch. throwing an inside punch, we want to be inside the range. But right now we're talking about outside punches. All right? So he's stepping in. This is a basic Sansu punch, one of the very first punches you're going to learn how to throw in Sansu. Hands up by the cheek like you're talking on the phone. Elbows tucked into the body. This shoulder is up high enough to protect your chin, okay, as you're throwing the punch. That way, if I come across with a hook punch, I want to hit his shoulder rather than hitting his chin, which is a knockout point, and that's something we're going to go over later in the video, or in the series. The other hand is up blocking the jaw, all right, protecting the body. Now, you can't always protect the stomach, especially when you're trying to protect the head, okay? But one thing that's going to help you is staying lower than your opponent on protecting your stomach. So he's in a nice low stance. His head is lower than my head right now as he impacts. Another way we're going to show this, go ahead and go back. Okay? And I'm going to let you see this from the other side. So go ahead and stand over here, Josh. Okay? And throw the same punch. So he throws a right punch. And you can see that straight line that I talked about from those knuckles to the shoulder, to the hip, to the ground. Anytime we break that line, you can see that line's off, he's not going to be as strong. There's nothing behind that. He's going to be weaker. So we have to have a nice straight line to the ground. If you watch fencing, they do this for a reach, but in fencing, they're not worried about the guy pulling him over. So if you lean too far, I'm going to pull you over. So when he hits, okay, if he's leaning too far, I can just grab him and just pull, and obviously he's off balance, okay? So when we hit, we want to keep the back straight, chest up, head up, bring the arm up to protect here, the shoulder here. We don't want to put the head down too far, okay, because what happens is that actually makes you start to bend your back leg. That's why you see a lot of boxers bending their back leg. You want to straighten that head up, straighten that body up. So when I'm punching, it's here, just like this, okay? Shoulder in line, shoulders up, right in line with that hip, okay? And that's one of the very first things we talk about in Sansu. Another principle we're going to go over real quick is what he's hitting with, okay? He's hitting with, if he puts his hand just like this, hold your hand straight, okay? And he pushes me away, he's using muscle to push me away, okay? Muscle being that when he goes like this, he's got to use muscle to get me away from him. If I don't allow him to turn his shoulders, he's going to be using more chest muscle than back muscle. Hand up, he turns his shoulders now. As he pushes, he has a lot more power because now he's got the twist of the shoulders going, okay? The strongest thing you're going to use is what I'm going to explain next. And that's actually your footwork and your loading up with your footwork, okay? So go back. And what I want him to do on this so you guys can kind of see this is he's actually going to cross step first, bending his front knee, okay? This is going to be the leg that's going to push and give you all the power right now, okay? Now, as he throws this punch, he's going to bend that knee. That knee is going to push forward. So as he steps in, he's going to bend, come forward. That leg straightens, and that is where he's getting all his power is from that back leg pushing out, okay? They talk about explosive power. If you see a good wrestler, he'll bend his knees before he shoots in and does a takedown, okay? The reason you're bending that leg is because you want to have that leg to spring off, okay? So what I'm going to do next off this idea is I'm also going to show you the weight of the body. So he was using muscle in his upper body, muscle turning his hips and his shoulders into that punch. The next thing he's also going to do is he's going to show his muscle from stepping in. All right, so I'm going to go into also using the weight of your body. Okay, and the way I'm going to demonstrate this is I'm going to have Josh put his hand up, shoulders turned already, so he can't use the muscles of his body. He lifts his foot up, sets his foot down between my legs. Now what this is demonstrating is as he lifts his foot up and falls into it, he's using the weight of his body to fall into it. We also want to use that into our punches as well. Okay, so as Josh lifts his foot up, brings it up in there, and then falls, okay, he uses weight to push me away. Okay, obviously, if you weigh more than the other person, you're going to have more weight, be able to push them over easier. I don't want you pushing with muscle on this idea or this idea, but what I want you to really focus in on this is as you lift your hand up and you drop it down, that you're using weight because you're falling into it. Okay? As you fall into this, you're going to see a couple things happen. it becomes a lot easier to move somebody around, okay? Because your weight can displace an area and knock him off his center. And I'll show you what I mean by that. The center of the body, so if he comes forward, okay, the center of the body runs from the top of the head straight down between the feet, okay? So if Josh turns this way, right in between the feet here, from the center of the body. If I lean him forward, now his center is off, coming straight down forward. If I lean him back, his center is back behind him now, okay? It's coming back down here. So what I want to do is, if he has a straight back, he's on center right now. He's on his line where he can hit, where he can move. Anytime you move a person off their center, they're going to have a harder time hitting and moving, okay? What I'm going to show from here is stepping through center. And I'll show you what I mean by that. Stepping through center is we're going to take a line right through where he's standing right now. This is his center. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my body and go past his line and his center with this, okay? So I'm going to cross step first to get myself some distance. Cross step, bending your front knee, okay? Your right foot is going to reach through, and you don't want to set it down. It's like you're holding it up. You don't want to, it's like you're holding it right over water. Don't set it down until you are ready to push off with his back leg. As I push off, I slide through his center, okay? You can see I took where he was standing away from him, all right? By taking him off his center, I'm going through and past his line, okay? His center line. And the reason we do this is I want you guys to understand when you're hitting somebody that you're going past them. All right, the next thing I'm going to demonstrate to you and show you is we're going to show you how far I'm stepping through his center. The center of his body, just like I explained earlier, runs from the top of his head straight down through. He's standing on this black line. I had these black lines put into the studio so I could show people how to step through a body rather than to it. Okay, I'm going to show you the difference. Stepping to is if I put my foot, 90% of the people, when I show this to them the very first time, this is what they do. They step to the target here, and then they push with their shoulders. Okay, I don't want you pushing with your shoulders. What I want is you stepping through, not leaning forward and jeopardizing your center, which is what we're going to talk about a little later, is jeopardizing that center leaning forward. I want you keeping the back straight, and I'll show you what I mean. I cross step, back straight. I push off, sliding through the center. You can see how far past I slid from where my back leg was. He was standing here, and I went past him that far. Not using my shoulders to push with, but actually using my footwork and my stepping through. And I'll show you again. Okay? My back leg will slide up, so I'm not off balance. And I'll show you what I mean by that. As I cross step, if I don't slide up my back leg, you can see I'm in too long and extended of a stance. So my back leg actually is going to slide. I cross step, it slides up and locks in place. Now I'm in a comfortable position I can move from here. Okay? If I'm too long, okay, now I got to pick myself up. Okay? And I don't want to do that because that'll take too long in a fight. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to step through, back leg is going to slide up behind, and I'm going to go through center using my legs, not my chest. Okay? Sliding through center. Okay? And that gives you an idea of what we're doing. All right? As we get into throws, I'm going to touch back on this and show you where we use this in your throws as far as stepping through center to do a hip throw or to do other types of throws with the body.